Welcome to another edition of Timmy Talks. Today I'm at the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya Museum, also known as the Prince of Wales Museum. And we are going to go check it out and see what it's all about. So come along. So they don't let you take photos unless you pay 100 rupees for a wristband that shows that you paid 100 rupees to take photos. So now that my 100 rupees are paid, I can officially take photos. And the first thing right in the foyer there is this wonderful stelas that have multiple different languages, and they share conquests that actually happened in India from the different rulers, and said in multiple languages so people would always know and understand what it is that happened. And here they are sitting outside, from the 11th century, just for anyone to touch. This one has accompanying pictures that talks about a war campaign that was successful. Right off the main entrance is an area that has all of these idols that were taken from various temples or temple ruins. And the first section had all of these idols of Brahma, was reliefs, wall reliefs that were taken from sides of temples or insides of temples. Here's a laying down Vishnu, and that was from the 11th century. Here's another Brahma from the 10th century. And that was a Shiva statue. So it has all the main gods in this section. Here's a beautiful one of Shiva. And this is a relief that was made in the 11th century that was taken into captivity from the Mughals and then brought back by the Hindus. And as you can see, there's various components of temples, temple idols that go in niches. There's even one of Buddha there. And in this section, they had a whole bunch of Buddha idols that ranged from 1100, 1200, 1300. I love they even have whole temple pillars and reliefs that go around the inside of the temple. Here are Mughal era silverware that were made. Hyderabad is one of the main areas that they used to make these silver chalices. It would have been pretty. I guess they've done a concert here. I can imagine it just echoing through the halls. That would be lovely. Then there was a whole section of tiles that were brought by the Mughals and imported from Persia, all hand-painted, indigo, all sorts of things. Then they found some skeletons in some of their ruins and pottery from early civilizations that were in India before the Indus civilization took off. And these are ancient potteries that they have there that are from early man, 12,000, 14,000 years ago. And they have a whole section of pottery and idols that were pocket idols that were carried by early man that have been found throughout the region. And they wanted to highlight how long civilization has been there. And they had jewelry from early civilizations, rings, nose rings, earrings, tools from early man. It was really cool to see that they had this whole collection of early antiques. And this section was a whole Chinese vase for snuff and perfumes. Then they had these really beautifully made bronze statues. This one is Narasimha, and they had a whole casing of statues of all the variations of Vishnu. Here's all the different iterations or incarnations of Vishnu from the very beginning to the one that has yet to come. And here's the dancing Shiva. They had a whole collection of dancing Shivas. All around the museum and on various floors, you will find artwork, Indian artwork that reflects Indian perspectives through the ages. Some are older, some are modern, but it's very cool to see. What a beautiful view of this building, my goodness. It was started in 1905 and built as a museum for the visit of upcoming King George V, who at that time was the Prince of Wales, and thus its original name is the Prince of Wales Museum. And here we come to the Himalayan art gallery that has a lot of idols, pieces of temples, all from the Himalayas, Tibet, etc. They had a whole section of Buddha idols, and they also have many other forms of idols there that correspond to Hindu deities, but have their own name. Here is a prayer wheel. If you don't know what a prayer wheel is, you put a prayer inside of it, and as many times as it spins around is how it's said that the prayer is being requested. So all these beautiful, intricate idols from all over the Himalayas, Tibet, etc. Just really, really pretty to see. This is Buddha from the future, more compassionate. And here's a nice vintage diorama of Tibetan priests playing music in a temple. Really cool to see. There was a whole section of vintage hand-painted artwork that was overlaid in gold. All these are hand-drawn, hand-stenciled, and have existed, for hundreds of years. They're just really beautiful. It's the way they used to tell stories and recite history, was through artwork and booklets containing artwork. So really nice piece of history to see. Here was a beautiful tapestry of Krishna. It was all handmade and is encased in a beautiful frame. They had several of these. Here's Jagannath and his family, another form of Krishna. So it was really nice to see that they had this whole handloom section of Krishna textiles. Then there was a whole section of Maharajas or Rajas that depicted their various rules and what they ruled over and historical perspective. It was pretty cool. I loved this room. It showed things that they had to preserve and restore, and talked about how they went about doing that. This was a full outside of a palace, a whole wall that was all made from wood. It was very intricate and very cool to see. Then a whole nother portion of the museum contained modern art. And I loved this artist. She was able to sort of reverse image everything that she was filming and put it in this red context. It was so cool to watch and just sit there and just look at how people interacted, and it had its own full-on universe of language, and just you don't really understand what's going on, yet you do. It was very interesting and something that made you think. Then the museum featured many women artists and up-and-coming women artists through history. It was a whole women arts section, and it was really nice to see Women in Art in India. Then they had a whole section of jewelry of the various Rajas and some of the money they used, coins and that sort of thing. Their personal family jewelry was really interesting to see. They had many pictures that corresponded to them wearing these things. It was really nice to see. And this Mahatma Gandhi bust, which was made by a woman artist, was really pretty. The view from inside the museum is just lovely. All the marble, the woodwork, the carving, the details that went into this place. Early 1900s, in commemorating the visit of the Prince of England to India. I mean, it was just stunning. As I exited the museum, I realized that there was this whole other section that I had not seen. So I started walking down this beautiful long hallway and saw all these lovely statues. There's one of laying down Vishnu. That, again, these were taken from temples, from ruins of temples, all throughout India, not just northern India, and are from the 1100s, 1200s. And I find it so interesting. I also find it difficult that they're just out here exposed to the elements just for anyone to touch. I don't know. I think it's something to preserve a little bit better. The grounds of this museum are fantastic. If you get a chance, you've got to go. I was happy to see this piece encased in glass. I mean, so intricate. Oh my goodness. How was this ever carved by hand? Just beautiful. My goodness. I'm really glad that it's out of people's touch and being preserved somewhat. Here's a Ganesha, early Ganesha. I think it said something like 1100. Then, to my surprise, there was a whole natural museum attached to the museum itself with animals that have been stuffed and preserved, fish, elk, tigers, animals that were actually in the area for hundreds and thousands of years. As my visit began to draw to an end, I had the opportunity to explore the grounds a little bit. The grounds are immaculate. The plants are just lovely, like a botanical garden. The building itself is spectacular. You can really walk around and look at all the architecture. Just a really stunning and wonderful time at the museum. Thanks again for watching another edition of Timmy Talks. I hope you enjoyed the museum just as much as I did. We will see you next time. Take care, and don't forget, like and subscribe.